The Scream Kings are in no way responsible for any encounters with the paranormal, extraterrestrial abductions, eldritch insanity, hauntings, hexes, curses, demonic possessions, cryptozoological sightings, or any loss of sleep from listening to this podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Scream Kings podcast. I'm NJ Gallegos.
I'm Nathaniel Darkish.
And this is Max George.
I'm a podcaster, not fucking Tomb Raider.
If anyone knows just off of that, you are our people.
Yes.
Are we
Though,
talking,
speaking of our people...
But are we talking Tomb Raider when she has this, like, triangle boobs? Or not?
Duh.
Yeah, okay, good.
If Tomb Raider doesn't have triangle boobs, I'm not interested.
Same.
I mean, I will say that the newer Tomb Raider games are pretty rad, but still...
Does she have triangle boobs, Nathaniel? If not, I'm not interested.
No, just normal woman boobs.
Yeah.
We have a special guest, Nathaniel.
Yes, we do.
You want to tell us who?
Yes. So we have Clay with us. Clay, do you want to just, I guess, introduce yourself? Because you'll do a better job of it than me.
Absolutely. And I do want to say real quick, just in Nathaniel's defense, he had a great transition lined up. He said, Speaking of our people, and then we got into triangle boobs, which we do have to talk about.
Yes.
And I'm glad that we did, but I do want to give Nathaniel credit that he had a great fucking transition lined up.
He really did. He did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I crushed it, and then you ruined it.
I don't know, Clay. I think there's something on your nose, and it's a little bit brown. You better rub that off.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm just trying to make sure all the voices are heard here on Scream Kings, including mine. This voice that you hear right now is Clay Vermulm's voice, because that's who I am. I'm a writer of horror and contemporary dark fiction. I'm an editor and a fellow podcaster, like all these wonderful people. And I do lots of random shit in the horrorverse. I'm the HWA program coordinator in Seattle. I'm the secretary for Cascade Writers. I'm an indie and traditional published author, and I'm happy to be on this show.
Yeah.
He's just a generally cool person.
Those are your words, Nathaniel. Now, whose nose is brown?
Ha!
Oh, we got a lot
Guys,
of brown
get
noses here.
Get a room.
NJ.
Okay.
I highly recommend lube and relaxing for you two.
I have no problem kissing the ass of someone who survived a lightning strike. Nathaniel is a bad dude.
That's fair.
True.
Apologies. It's been a minute since I've been on the podcast. NJ and Nathaniel, you guys have been leading the charge as I've been dealing with chaos and calamity in my life. So I'm here, I'm queer, the sass is real.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Okay, well, Clay, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you got into horror before we start to dig into some more of your specific projects?
Sure. Yeah, I think my story is pretty synonymous with a lot of other stories I've heard. I've always been a writer, always liked horror as a kid. And I'm not entirely sure why. I've tossed around a few different theories. But ultimately, I think it comes down to I just think monsters are really fucking rad. And that has led to, like, a fascination with folklore. And as you dig deeper into mythology and history and the natural world itself, horror is everywhere, and it lives right there next to everything that makes me happy in my brain. It's also a great way to process anything negative that's going on in my life. I like to do that through my writing, and I think I've done that for a very long time. So all of that, on top of like stealing Pet Sematary from my mom when I was like 8 and reading that, and that totally changing my life. Just made me look at the world very differently from that point on. And from then, I was consuming all the horror I could get, which was a lot because my mom is also a horror fan. So, yeah, it was a pretty easy journey into it for me.
Clay, do you have like a favorite type of genre of lore or folklore, like Greek mythology, Norse mythology, American Indian, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I do like me some Norse mythology. I'm partial to the stories of gods that aren't perfect. And
Oh
I know
yeah.
the Greeks do that as well, but to be completely honest, in school, I didn't connect really well with the teaching style of my younger English teacher. So Greek stuff shoved down my throat.
Mm,
So I wanted to look for other things. Now, the easiest to find next to Greek is like Norse. If
sure.
you're raised in like north central Montana, especially. But the other cool thing about being raised in north central Montana is I grew up right next to the Blackfeet Reservation. So I've always been partial to Native American stories, indigenous stories. I don't know if you guys have read Never Whistle at Night yet, but
I have not yet, but
Not yet.
I need to.
that is a fantastic example of exactly how amazing and cool horror can be through the indigenous folk horror lens in the contemporary landscape. It's amazing. And I like to read Grinnell's Blackfeet Lodge Tales, Morning Dove's Coyote Stories are both great collections of like the Pacific Northwest and the mid Northwest United States tribal cultures and stories. So those are a couple of recommendations, I guess.
Nice.
Do you have a favorite Norse god, goddess slash creature? Because this is my jam.
I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. You know, sometimes when someone asks you your favorite character or something, you don't want to say like Jon Snow. You know, like it's like, yeah, we all relate to Jon Snow. Jon Snow's cool. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, yeah,
So
we
you're
all have to admit that. But it's like, yeah, it's like Fenrir's Wolf.
okay. I was gonna say you're about to say Thor, right?
No. Fenrir's Wolf. It's always gonna be a creature for me if it can be, and it's always
Okay,
going to
cool.
be on the the alleged bad side of the
Hell
battle.
yeah. Love that. Love that. Yeah, I would have to say mine are Tyr
Yep,
for a god.
I love Tier 2.
And then Jormungandr for a creature, the world serpent. It doesn't get better than that, in my opinion.
It doesn't. I wrote a short story really, really early in my career, kind of when you couldn't really call it a career yet, you know? Um, a story about Fenrir, and Tyr is the only god that he has a good relationship at that point in the story. So it's kind of about like him turning towards killing people. That's kind of the story. He kills his first person.
Hell yeah.
So it was fun to experiment with, but I have a soft spot in my heart for Tier 2 after reading in 4 and writing that story.
I also really like Hell. Just the juxtaposition of like eternal life versus damned life is crazy cool. So
Norse Hell is so badass. Like, you know,
agreed.
If you're gonna just steal all these other cultures' icons and symbols and holy days so that they'll practice your religion the way you say to do it, like at least steal the coolest shit. You know?
Agreed.
What are you doing with this? I don't like the rebranding of Satan. I'll say it.
Oh my god, do not get me started, Clay. Okay, someone has to take the conversation because I'm gonna lose it.
Okay, so
here I go.
So other than enjoying the folk horror, what are some of your favorite like horror movies or other horror media that you particularly love?
I'm a sucker for found footage,
Yeah.
and movies that know exactly what they want to do, I guess. I wouldn't say I have a particular like genre of horror I like the most. I have a couple I prefer not to watch. But if it's outside of those, I'll take any horror you're willing to give me, as long as you know what you want to do. And I like when movies don't take themselves too seriously, but they take the craft seriously. They take the story seriously. So anything that does all that stuff works for me. One of my favorite movies of all time is Cabin in the Woods.
Nice.
So good.
I love that movie. it does so many cool things. That cold open is one of my favorite opens of all time, and I've been trying to replicate it in stories forever, but there is no editor that won't be like, hey, can we do something cool in the first scene? Or like, but I love that story just opens at the water cooler because the mundanity of it actually heightens the stakes to me. Like how easily they can do this job shows how scary they are as human beings. But anyway, that is a rant. I had a movie I was going to gas up a little bit that's kind of under the radar, I think. It's a found footage movie called Butterfly Kisses. And it's
on my list. I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
It's sick. I love a good found footage movie. I was also going to bring up one that's not as good as Butterfly Kisses, but it relates to this, and I'll do it later because it's about adventure horror. But Butterfly Kisses is about when you see a shape in the corner of your eye. There's actually a German creature for it. I forget what exactly it was called. Something Geist, a type of Geist. And if you look at it, it goes away. But you can see it if you can stop yourself from blinking for long enough. So the movie's all about capturing one of those creatures on a camera and the ramifications. So I would say go watch it if you're into like supernatural horror, found footage. With a cool little like historical twist.
Well, I need Dramamine.
Dramamine?
Yeah. I have very weak cochlea. This has been something that has been covered. I get motion sick.
Oh, okay.
Because
I see.
she's a little bitch.
I highly doubt that. But I would say... Oh, that's too bad, NJ. So do you not really generally like found footage at all?
I do, but if it's too shaky, like I am a puss. It's a fact. Like the Blair Witch Project is too much for me.
That's fair. I do also sometimes have a hard time not seeing the South Park where they did the guinea creatures. Where they show, like, from a third person's perspective, what it would look like if someone was getting all these shots, and it is hilarious, and it is hard not. So a found footage movie for me also has to not do that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that makes it a worse found footage movie if it's not like all the shots need to make sense to me. I think there's always like a balance of realism and it's a movie. Chill out.
Mm-hmm.
We love found footage here. Nathaniel and I in particular, it's probably one of our favorites, I would say.
Cool.
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just a sucker for anything that kind of like brings you closer to the experience of the story. Anything that kind of creates that veneer of reality. Which you get with diary entries in a novel or whatever. But anything like that, yeah, I am fascinated by it. I like to talk about it. That's why I like teaching Dracula to students or things like that. Is that I get to sit and rant about. But look, it's like the characters are telling you the story. It's not like an author's telling you the story, and anything, with where found footage does that, or a lot of podcasts will do that as their storytelling format or things like that. Or it's like, no, they're exploring it and they're telling you the story as they're going through it, kind of thing. I eat that up.
And it's so awesome how so many types of different horror stories in different subgenres can all strike those same balances and tell you a really cool story, a really scary story. Like you have everything from Mike Bachman's Fantastic Land, which is that same epistolary format, but it's all interviews.
Mm-hmm.
You just tell the whole story through an interview with a couple interludes from the writer, who's like a journalist, right? And then you can also go all the way into like full on, this is a fairy tale movie mode and make like Pan's Labyrinth, which is my favorite movie of all time. All the way across the spectrum from Cabin in the Woods, but like they both are striking the same important balances. They both have us along for the ride, but we also believe the stakes are real. And man, give me any movie like that. And horror is making so much good stuff like that right now.
Hell yeah!
If you want some really good found footage, I would highly recommend. It's a Shudder original called Deadstream.
Yeah, Deadstream's good.
All right, cool. The other one I really, really like is Antrim. A lot of people don't know that one, but it's pretty demonic, spooky, ooky. So
Okay. I do not know that one.
if you watch it, you're supposed to die when you finish it. So, watch out.
So it doesn't work, is what I'm hearing.
I watched The Ring on VCR, and I'm still here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what scares you the most, Clay? What are some standout horror movies or books or things like that that really got under your skin?
There's not too many. I kind of like horror too much to get scared by it.
Fair.
There's a couple. There's definitely ones that have unsettled me quite a bit. House of Leaves, Daniel Lusky. That's a super unsettling, terrifying book. That's easily the weirdest, scariest book I've ever read. In terms
Guys,
of just,
I need to buckle down and try it again.
Yep.
Everyone loves House of Leaves, but every time I've tried to read it, I've just felt like I've been spiraling out of control.
That's
because you're trying to read it and not letting it read you.
I know.
It's an experience, not a book.
We can do a book club because I need to read it too. I pick it up and then I just get daunted and I put it back.
I can totally understand that book not being your cup of tea though. I had to try a couple times too.
Every time I try, I just get lost. I feel like
that is literally the point.
I know, Nathaniel. We've had this conversation a billion times, but I don't know. It's not vibing with me. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I think Thomas Oldehoyvelt writes some pretty scary stuff too.
Yes, he does.
Not really as his last one wasn't very scary. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't very scary. But I think that Echo was a terrifying book.
I need to read that
That's
one.
One of my biggest inspirations for mountain climbing horror, easily.
Okay, I have to add that one to my list because I read Hex, and that one was pretty scary.
Hex is dope. That one is the one he's most known for, I think, and Echo was the one right before it, and it's kind of, I think, where he really came out with the style we kind of know him for. And Hex took that to another level. It was great. But Echo is a great isolation horror story. It's about a guy who gets possessed by a mountain god, basically.
Ooh. You're speaking my language. Okay. Adding
It's
that
sick.
to my read list. Okay, well, we've talked about your interests. So tell us about a little bit more about your podcasts, about your books. Just, give us the sales pitch, and then we'll kind of chime in since I've been on one of your podcasts, I've read one of your books, and I have good things to say. But let's hear your pitch.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys taking the time to come on the show. We're having NJ on next season too, which I'm extremely stoked about.
Very excited for that.
It's gonna be sick. Max, I didn't know you. Okay.
Cool, Clay. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah. You know what? We'll see. We'll see how this one goes. I'm just
wow!
Really, the reason I'm on this show is to scout Max. I'm actually
no, you're good. You're good. Both of these two are authors, and all I know how to do is summon demons and read tarot, so I understand.
Hey, that's a very valuable skill for a group of authors.
Yep.
You should set up a table at the vendor's room. That would be great. Summon demons for us. So I have some books. Right now I'm really shouting out my two that are new releases. So I have a reprint of Crevasse. I originally self-published it in 2022. It's been picked up by Dark Forest Press in Bellingham. They're an awesome small press. They're just getting started, but they also got a new book by John Baltazar, so that looks awesome. So my book is Crevasse. It's the first in a 3-book series of novellas called Voices from the Cold, and book 1 is Crevasse. So this is a rock climbing horror story about some climbers who attempt a difficult climb in the remote North Cascade Mountains, called the Southern Picket Range, and they encounter a supernatural entity that doesn't make that any easier.
That's dope.
Thank you.
He was
so that
very
one's-
creepy. Very creepy.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's one of the books, and then I have Rain Shadows, Dark Tales from Washington State. That is a co-written anthology of 12 horror stories, all taking place in Washington State, with another author from out here, Tamara K. Selman. She's been writing and publishing and editing for like 40 years. She's an awesome, incredible writer, and a great partner in self-publishing. So that one's really exciting. We started it from a podcast. We gave each other a prompt, and then we would write to the prompt and critique every story live on the show. So we were kind of trying to analyze craft and the early writing process through that lens. And this is the collection of the resulting stories about a year later. So we've now obviously gone through lots of editing, and everything's nice and clean. And they're all based on a different horror trope, and they all take place in a different area in Washington State. So we have like one out in central Washington that's a bouldering story. So if you like the climbing horror in Crevasse or the Descent, that one's called Problem Child, and it's about two brothers that are like establishing a bouldering area way out in the middle of nowhere. And my horror trope for that was Science Gone Awry. So you can take your guesses or just read the story yourself. It'll be released this Sunday. So the book comes out on Sunday. Please go check it out. That's Rain Shadows by Clay Vermulm and Tamara K. Selman. And then the podcasts. I still do that podcast where we write books out of it, Beneath the Rain Shadow. We're starting season 2, January 2026. And then I'm doing Fermented Fiction, which is a genre fiction debate game show. You come on, we choose a movie, book, or show, fantasy, sci-fi, or horror, and we roll 2d20s. If you roll high, you have to defend the chosen thing. If you roll low, you have to attack it, no matter what you actually think, and we have a 10-minute debate. And then after that, we do basically a panel discussing the work and whatever other random bullshit rises to the surface while we drink a couple beers together. So it's a lot of fun. That's like all the creative shit I do.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so I've done one episode of that podcast with y'all, and I talked about Hogfather, a Discworld novel. So not my usual horror stuff, but it was a ton of fun, and I was. Am I the only person to ever do that podcast without having booze involved?
No, definitely not. We've had a few. Travis also is Catholic, so once a season he goes off the booze. But we actually have quite a few, especially when people are on the East Coast, because we'll be calling them at like 9:30 at night. And they're like, I'm about to go to bed. It is a Wednesday. And we're like, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy your tea. Black tea is fermented, so, it still counts.
Good to know.
I think I drank, Brigham's Brew root beer.
Yeah, you did. That was perfect.
I will be getting slaughtered, so.
Let's go. I'll be right there with you.
Yes.
Yeah, you will not be alone. That is among my many roles on the show. Make sure the guests...
Are you more like an IPA guy? I mean, I'm just thinking with the climbing, a little hipstery maybe.
Wow.
I say this as a native Coloradan who is also a hipster.
Yeah, I got the vibe.
What makes IPA hipster, lady?
Tastes like pine.
I mean, you cannot be a hipster and not drink IPA. It's either
like
that or you're drinking like something from Belgium. It has to be one of the two.
Or like a cider made out of cedar wood or something.
Mushrooms. Mushroom cider.
Ooh.
I mean, I would drink that though.
I would also drink that.
As I'm sipping my vodka on the rocks, it's fine.
I'm drinking an Athletic right now.
Hell yeah.
But I'm also smoking. weed. So
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
get out of here.
that's maybe the most hipster thing about me right there.
The
Or that's
devil's
just
lettuce.
hippie, isn't it? Yeah.
Escándalo.
I might be a little hipster. I mean, I like an IPA, I like a hazy, but I'll drink any beer really as long as it's not too sweet. I like stouts too, porters.
I get that.
I like a
I
good
don't
old
like-
ale.
I don't like sweet beer at all. The hoppier, the like more earthy, the better for me.
Yeah,
So
I like that.
I do like
I-
I love though on a summer day like a Modelo with tahini and a lime.
ooh, tahini, underrated.
It makes a Modelo taste really good. You just have to add tahini to it, and then all of a sudden it's like this is a beautiful beer. It's just.
I also
perfect.
feel like it has to be like 90 degrees outside, and then it just
Yes.
hits different.
Absolutely. One time, do you guys want to hear a story about how I got gout?
Yes.
Never, but always.
For those foot
Let's
fetishes
go.
of you out there, I went to Mexico with my wife for our anniversary, and we got the all-inclusive package. And so I did spend virtually the entire time we were there just like laying on a chair, smashing through books, and they'll just bring you shrimp tacos and Modelo with tahini and lime all day long.
you
So you don't even
you
have to
sold
get
me
up.
at shrimp tacos.
It was so good.
Oh god, love
And
it.
carne asada, it was awesome. And I drank so much beer and ate so much seafood that I like all
Oh,
of a sudden
no.
my toe was super sore, like on the last day. And I was like, it must have been all the walking in flip flops or whatever. You know, I don't do that all
Nope.
the time. Nope. I got home, it kept swollen up, and I had to go to the doctor. And they were like, so this is gout. They're like, there's usually when you're this young, you won't get it naturally, but you can get it from these things. And I was like, all right.
I mean, you had
That's how you party hard when you're 34, baby.
yeah, no. See, you're lucky. You partied your way into gout. I just had it naturally when I was 24, and just suddenly felt like my foot was broken.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
NJ,
it is wonderful.
It sucks.
I think it's because they're straight.
I think
Is
so.
gout more relevant in straight people?
I have never seen it in
maybe.
a gay, not once.
The amount of seafood you had to eat there, Clay, is incredible for you to get gout. I love that.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm pretty proud of it. I know I probably shouldn't be, but I am.
Well, I mean, like, that's like what the kings back in the day. You're eating all that rich food, all the nice, wines, soft cheeses, and look at you go, man. You're just living the dream.
It was the closest to a king I believe I will ever be. And in this
Okay,
current
then.
climate, I'm really happy for that.
That's fair.
Now all I want is seafood soft cheese.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
I could go for some
gonna go get-
tacos.
Yeah, let's go get gout, NJ. See how long it takes the gays.
Yeah.
We'll do an
it's
experiment.
Like Tootsie Pop. How many shrimp does it take?
Let's go. I'm here for it.
Me too.
Never-ending shrimp at Red Lobster, and really take them up on that.
Red Lobster,
I'm
that's
not-
fancy.
I know, right?
I know. I was gonna go to like Winco or Smith's and just get a platter on platter.
If we do go to Red Lobster, I want to pick out my own lobster.
You want to? You.
I'm gonna name him, and then I want you to slaughter him.
No, because then we have to kill him.
And that's the closest to a god NJ ever got.
Yeah.
Let's just
You.
get gout with pre-processed shrimp, everybody. Let's not kill a lobster.
But Rocky,
We could just go to Costco and get like
So
the huge
it's
shrimp
better-
cocktail.
It's better, Max, to kill one lobster than a billion shrimp.
Technically,
What is your problem?
I mean,
Per my zoological degree,
shrimps is bugs.
human empathy is more correlated to an animal that has more emotion and reacts to human interaction. Therefore, a lobster would be much more immoral than a bug that is shrimp.
Wow. I'm sure glad we're
So-
not talking about District 9 today with that attitude.
Wow.
Yikes.
Oh man, we should
Yikes.
cover District 9 soon. That movie rules.
NJ, if you want to kill the lobster, don't let me see, but I will soak it in butter and eat it afterwards, okay?
Oh, so you'll let me do the dirty work.
1,000. You're a lesbian. 1,000%.
I mean,
Oh,
I mean that does track for what I know of lesbians. I mean, you did jam out to the Home Depot theme in the rental car,
it was really
Boom,
good.
boom,
though.
boom, 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 boom.
and it was the most lesbian thing I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing.
Hey.
We're not talking about lesbians. Well, we are talking about the descent, so maybe?
Oh, I'll descent on you, all right.
Please don't. Been there, done that. No, thank you.
Oh.
Okay, The Descent from 2005 is our movie.
That's a hell of a way to bring us into the next segment.
Yep.
Here we go.
You wanted good segues, Clay. Here they are.
I hear him. I appreciate him.
Writer director Neil Marshall. So this was him coming off of making Dog Soldiers, and yeah, he had another horror movie in him. So, I mean, we know the plot of The Descent. A bunch of ladies go into a cave for some spelunking, and a bunch of oversized golems pick them off one by one,
Yeah.
like you do.
Succinct.
I wouldn't call.
So, my one question.
Yes.
Is it like caving? Is it spelunking? Spelunking? Are they the same thing?
I believe there's lots of types of caving. I believe spelunking is a type of caving.
Oh, so there's like subtypes of caving. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Now
what's
you have to explain
yeah.
though, Clay. What's the difference?
I'm not like a caving expert. I don't know all the types. I just know there are some different subcategories. There's cave diving. There's going to be like a technicality grade and a danger rating usually. Like in rock climbing, they will give like it's a 5 grade. So because 5th class climbing is when you start going vertical. Before that, it's 4th, which is like when you have to scramble over some things, maybe get on all fours. And 3rd is like just a steep hike. So
Okay.
every climb is graded like 5 dot something, 5.6, 5.7, 5.10. And then once it's 5.10, it adds letters to it because the difficulties are more incremental. So then it's like 5.10A, 5.10B, 5.10C. So caving has a similar grading system. And then there's usually a PG-13 or R if it's particularly dangerous. But yeah,
So
lots of different types.
When you said you don't know much about caving, you know all the things about caving. That was
See?
fascinating.
Thank you. The ploy actually worked perfectly. I was talking about rock climbing. I said nothing about caving.
Oh!
The bait and switch.
I did.
Bait and switch, baby.
Apparently,
I did-
caving is the more common British term. Spelunking is more
Yeah.
common in North America, but they're the same thing.
Nathaniel, you just Googled the same thing I did, so that's why we're friends.
So the evidence is corroborated.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, but we would not have a movie if it wasn't for What's Her Bitch, who was a complete terrible human being
Juno?
and shenaniganed this whole movie.
Juno?
Yeah, I mean,
Juno's the worst.
she is the worst.
Ugh.
I mean,
I
yeah, that is one of my cons, so I know we're not doing that yet. But I feel like Juno is such a like transparent villain character from the very
Yeah.
beginning. Which I guess it gives you somebody to kind of like
Hey,
it makes sense when they go to a cave that they weren't supposed to go to. She seems from the beginning like the kind of person who would pull a move like that.
She's kind of a douche.
and I just
Yeah,
I don't know how
kinda.
I mean, I don't know how any of the other girls wouldn't have done their research, and they're just like, yeah, Juno, let's go to this cave. But that is me projecting, of course, onto the plot, because that is who I am. And if NJ said we're going to go to Diablo's Inferno cave, I'd be like, oh, are we? Let me look at that. So,
I don't know.
It just kind of...
Sorry, go ahead.
Know. Yeah. No, you, please.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I have been on quite a few trips and stuff, and if you trust the people you're with, I think you start to trust that they're not gonna screw you over.
And it seems like they do have a history of doing stuff like this, so
right.
They don't have much reason to think that Juno's going to absolutely screw them over, but surprise.
You do enough of those like kind of sports with people, you start to learn what people's like risk tolerance is. They start to learn yours, and you like actually put your life in their hands at points. So it's fun. It like really develops a different kind of kinship. I think it's believable that they would have trusted Juno on her word for that reason.
So when is the pivot? When would you assume, I guess, just because you're a rock climber here, when would you say, this isn't safe anymore?
This isn't safe anymore? Unfortunately, you often don't know that until
it's not safe anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, unless you like look at conditions of something and blatantly ignore it. Like if there's a storm and you're like, we'll go. That's usually a bad move. Something that
like
makes
a cave that a cave that nobody has explored before, but we're gonna try it.
Hey, is there a pile of bones in that cave by chance?
Including
you want to go to one?
My daughter will tell you that its second most important rule in our house is safety is the first part of fun. So as soon as safety stopped being fun, I'm out.
Risk is a choice.
Well, let's talk about some of the other things that we really like before we start picking apart the
Juno.
how dumb they were to get themselves in that situation. Maybe again, I think it's believable that they would at least start this journey, though maybe they should have turned around a few times before they got to the cave in. But yeah, like for me, I think a big thing that makes this movie really work is like how realistic the caves are. Like those are sets, but they really made them look like real caves, feel like real caves. Like it looks like the wet, earthy smell is just everywhere. To me, it really sold that claustrophobia. It made me, watch it and go, oh yeah, no, like screw that.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. It felt very real. It has one of the better portrayals of like what rock climbing actually looks like in any movie I've ever seen. Of course, it's slightly hyped up. It's still a movie, but like that scene where they cross the open space and they're using the cams and everything, that's very accurate. That's like what climbing looks like. That would be a really difficult climb. Usually you're not upside down the whole time. But people climb that stuff too. But like the way she used the equipment, the way they used the rope, what a real fall looks like. They did a good job on all of that stuff. So that's one of the reasons I think that this movie is kind of seen as the pinnacle of adventure sports movies, is largely because of a couple scenes like that they executed perfectly.
Mm. And yeah, I think like that idea of adventure sports is really kind of underutilized in horror, right? Like, people putting themselves in dangerous situations on purpose to have a fun experience, to have a thrilling experience, seems like something that like a relatively untapped resource in the horror world. I would love to have more movies that have this sort of feel, because, man, they like... I would never put myself in that situation in the first place, but definitely I would never have the, power to get myself out of something like that. And so, watching people go through something that is unfathomable to me is really exciting and interesting.
Yeah. You know what I notice a lot? It's almost like I think a lot of the time, I think they're difficult movies to make. Um, I think it's kind of like putting a gun in your movie. You better not like say what type of gun it is, or the gun people will come for you. Adventure sports people want to see their stuff represented accurately. So I think you really got to do your homework, and it's easy to make a mistake if you don't do those things yourself. Um, but aside from that, I also see this tendency: movies that are making adventure, like adventure horror or adventure anything speculative. It almost seems like they always try to add another reason for the people to be doing the thing. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have to research this thing, so therefore we're climbing this thing, or oh, just they're always putting like another layer of need onto it, and I don't really see the why that is. I think it's plenty for it to just be about the adventure, and adding speculative elements to that is a lot of fun. But you're right, there's not a lot of adventure horror or adventure speculative work out there, really.
I can't even really think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, like the closest thing I can think of is one that kind of fits more in that category of Ararat, the book by Christopher Golden, which was awesome, but is dealing with climbing a big scary mountain, and then it's because there's a giant archaeological find that might be might be Noah's Ark on the side of this mountain, kind of thing. And yeah, so it's been so much time kind of justifying that, when a lot of the horror does come from the elements, and then we have the supernatural element that starts kicking in. But yeah, they're trapped in it with because of the weather, but like, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily have to have the archaeological find element to sell the story.
So I'm gonna push back a little bit and recommend a few,
Sweet.
if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
What about the ruins?
Yeah.
That's like a hike.
What about-
That's like that's like a touristy, you just go to the ruin thing.
They're
You don't
just
need-
they're just going to look at ruins. They're not like doing a sport. I mean,
Okay, so
hiking can be a sport, but
So adventure we are describing as a sport?
well, we did. I think we were specifically talking about like sport horror movies, adventure sport horror movies,
Okay,
like
so the
climbing
ritual.
or surfing or something.
Yeah, The Ritual would be a good example of
Ritual,
much more
yeah,
simple.
that's a pretty decent one.
As above, so below. We're spelunking, but in the catacombs.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one.
It's good.
Annihilation.
Annihilation's got that research element attached to it. It's not sports.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Willow Creek. It's a found footage about Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, that one's fun.
Also research.
Is it research, or are they just wanting to find Bigfoot?
What is that if not research? Finding Bigfoot isn't a sport. I mean, I guess it could be hide and seek, but it seems more like anthropology.
I mean, it can definitely be a
Yeah.
sport.
I
guess the
Bigfoot
definition
mating calls
of
start coming in.
Well, you could
Yeah,
you could
I
play
guess-
catch with Bigfoot if you find him.
in theory, you could.
So what
do
about Troll Hunter?
Troll Hunter freaking rolls.
that. It rules, but it's got a climbing scene. Otherwise, it's about research. I'm sorry. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Sports horror movies, adventure sport horror movies. There are very few of them.
But
Yeah,
but,
I
but
mean,
yeah, like
we
those
can-
elements are definitely present for sure. But yeah, like I think it would be cool to see more of it brought to the forefront, because I think a lot of times it ends up being one really tense scene when it could be more of the film, more of the story.
Okay, so Blair Witch, is that research?
Yeah, absolutely.
How is it research?
They're literally researching the Blair Witch.
They're
Oh my
trying to
gosh.
find the witch. They're literally interviewing people.
Okay, so in order for this to fit, they just have to be doing recreation.
Yeah.
Adventure sports horror movies. Yeah, that was the question.
I'm gonna agree to disagree, but that's fine.
Whatever.
Okay. I mean, The River with Daniel Radcliffe, that's not speculative horror, but it was like a thriller for sure.
I mean,
that was a good example. Did you guys see The
the
River?
Great,
I did not.
Mm-mm.
It's really
the Great
good.
Inferno.
I haven't seen
Another
that one.
research.
Probably.
I mean, I guess they're Cannibal Holocaust.
huh.
I mean, I don't know. Both of those movies aren't good, though.
That doesn't matter.
I want good movies.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm gonna shut up.
Everybody's a critic.
Oh wait, so Jaws, is that not? What is Jaws?
They're trying to.
They're not
kill a
doing
shark.
research. Is that adventure?
I think Jaws could count.
The second half of
Hunting
Jaws, sure.
could be seen as a sport.
Okay, so you two are against Max. That's fine.
No, I said Jaws could count.
Minute.
I said Jaws could count. What? I thought that was your stance. Is your stance now that Jaws does not count?
No, I do. I do.
Oh,
I
okay.
think we're just
Well, then I'm on your
coming.
I agree.
I think we're coming down to definitions, and you two are in agreement versus me. So that's fine.
There's a lot of good adventure horror. I agree with that. But not a lot of adventure sports centric horror. Like The Descent, where their whole mission is just to like do the sport outside, which is like high enough stakes, you know? I would love to see a good surfing horror movie. I don't know why that hasn't been done yet, but it would be sweet.
So the Meg? How about the Meg?
Yeah, that's fine. I would just like it to not be sharks, you know? Like that's just
Okay.
low hanging
Oh my
fruit.
gosh. So it can be surfing, but not sharks.
I'd like to see like a speculative surfing movie with ghosts, or the Dawn Marchers from Hawaiian folklore, or like, I don't know, a Selkie or a Siren or something that's
that'd be
just
dope.
not sharks. It's
That would
always
be good.
sharks.
That would be good.
Right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Or
Or
it's just
giant
like the
squid.
fog
I like a
happens while
squid.
someone is surfing.
I would take a Kraken. I mean, that's no more original than a shark, but I like it better. I would take it.
Yeah.
So we are
Um,
biased, is what Max is understanding.
Hey, you would
So
want
are
a
you.
Selkie movie
Everybody's
too.
biased.
I would, but I think you guys are trying to pigeonhole adventure sports movies into a very particular description.
Yep.
They do have to adventure if they want to be categorized as adventure sport horror movies. Yeah, I think they got to be doing an adventure sport as part of the central plot.
Okay.
I would say that.
So going
go
back
ahead.
to the Descent, I really like also the monster design, right? Like it feels very
Mhm.
effective. Yeah, I was being a little reductive by saying that they're giant golems earlier, but I know like they were specifically, kind of looking at the design of bats. They looked at Nosferatu. They looked at a lot of stuff like that. And I felt like the monster design is very creepy. It's very effective. When they emerge from the mud, it really, they blend in really well. It's some good scares from those.
Yeah. Even as many times as I've watched this movie, I still found it really creepy, really scary. The tension's high, and the pacing is really good. I think all those elements of horror it does pretty perfectly.
Mhm.
And honestly, it follows a pretty like standard horror beat sheet, but I like that about it. It works well because it changes enough things and puts us in a new enough environment with the same stakes, but like presented in different ways from different types of threats, like the climbing, like the different type of creature that they have to figure out how to defeat it and all the different ways they can get around that. So I enjoyed it. I think it's done really well too. And something I love about this movie is the way the characters are created and the way they're fleshed out, the way they come across on the screen. I think the dialogue is really effective. People feel genuine and real, and this movie does an excellent job of casting a full female cast and just having it be a movie about women without it being a movie about being about women. You know?
Yep.
Mhm.
I thought it did a great job. It never says anything about it. And like those women just have a right to be doing what they're doing. We don't have to fucking explain why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, we don't need to be, oh, well, we met at a women's group for women doing women things. Yeah, like, yeah, people are friends. That's fine. Like, let's go.
Let's go splunking. Spelunking.
Absolutely. And there's certainly a place for a movie that needs to be about the message itself, that needs to be about the cause, like, and be loud about that and be in your face about that. But this movie wasn't about that. This movie was about friends going on an adventure. It was about complicated relationships. It was about friends betraying each other for their own interests on all kinds of different levels. And the fact that they were all women was truly empowering, because they were all women on screen, and that was what the movie is.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to make it a bigger deal than it was, and therefore it becomes like a really representative movie. At least that's how I feel from my very male perspective. I don't know if NJ agrees with that at all.
So I would have liked a little bit more backstory as to like their friend group and things of that nature. I would have liked that to be a little bit more fleshed out. Just because, I mean, this is kind of leaning into the cons. I sometimes had a hard time keeping track of who was who.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's fair.
So I think I would have liked to be able to attach like, oh, this was their backstory. How nice.
Yeah,
Yay.
maybe we didn't need 6 characters. 4 or 5 might have been easier to follow.
Yeah.
And differentiate between.
Well, I don't know if it's about numbers. I think what NJ is saying is kind of flesh the characters out more so than being fodder to die.
Yeah.
We want to talk about feminism, then give each individual character a personality and an identity rather than just fodder to kill. I don't think it's a numbers thing. I think it is a identity thing.
Yeah, in my notes, I literally wrote down like Holly, the lesbian, short hair. That way I would like remember who was who.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to, go even further, I think it could be anti-feminist in some capacity, right? We're assigning these stereotypic tropes to each of these women and then letting them play out. And NJ, of course, this is a gay man, so please tell me if I'm wrong.
I mean,
but some of the characters did seem tropey. I'm not going to be dishonest.
That's very true. But I would also point out that I like that it brings up kind of a lot of moral ambiguity with the characters, which I feel like if it were, kind of putting everyone in like neat boxes of like, this person's good and this person's bad, which it does a little bit early on, but then it kind of then breaks that down. The fact that I think it has as much moral ambiguity as it does, that, our quote hero Sarah, who seems to be largely the one that we're supposed to be cheering for, does some really sketchy things. And so like things like that, kind of coming in with the writing, I think helps it avoid falling into the sort of anti-feminist traps that we sometimes see, in my opinion.
So what would happen if they were all men?
They would still get shoved into tropes.
Yeah.
They would just be different tropes.
True.
That's what I'm trying to say here.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I just feel like they could have wore a name tag or something for me to just kind of figure out what the hell was going on here.
Brighter colors of clothing, so they're maybe not be quite as covered in mud all the time, so it's hard to see who's who.
Something. I don't know.
It was a different era. The 90s or the early aughts were a lot more muted in their outdoor colors. Now everybody's all neoned up.
That's true.
As it should be. As it should be.
That's totally how it should be. Yes. It makes all the sense.
So one thing I wanted to pick a brain on is kind of the medical aspects, the compound fracture and stuff like that. How do you think they did with that, NJ, as a doctor?
I thought that they very well. It actually made me a bit squeamish. But bones typically do that, though. I'm not a big fan of like orthopedic injuries just at baseline because there's like a lot of noises and grinding and like, especially when it's like an open fracture like that. Ugh. But yeah, I thought that they did pretty well with that. And then some of the like. Now, see, I can't remember anybody's name. Juno, whenever she got her friend. What in the hell was her friend's name with the axe? I don't know. Beth, maybe?
I think it's
I gotta be honest, I don't know anyone's name either.
I know. See? They need frickin' name tags.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Juno and Sarah, and then everyone else is just the other ones.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, is a problem.
For sure.
And then that part where, again, I'm not going to remember who it actually was, but where the rope gives that, like, burn / laceration.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's realistic, too. Rope burn is absolutely gnarly. And it happens, like, immediately. People
Would
have
it
no
be,
idea.
like, that thick? Like, it would just be, like, a full thickness laceration kind of like that?
Oh, yeah. It'll saw right through your hand all the way to the bone if you try to grab a rope.
Really?
That's ripping. Yeah, it's nylon, so basically turns it into a saw.
Wow.
It's gnarly. And it happens like way faster than people would think. Like if something's been falling for half a second, don't grab that rope.
Wow.
You have to grab it immediately.
Wow. You know what else? These women were like insanely strong. Like I can't even do a pull-up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they're like just traversing these gaps and whatnot. I also wanted to ask you, so whenever they were traversing that initial like gap, whatever, you know those things that they stick into the ceiling? Like how does that work?
Yeah, it's called a cam. So it has like you pinch it like a syringe, and it has these big metal claws basically that they go in when you pinch it shut, and then you put them in the crack and they expand back out.
Okay.
And yeah, it's if you can get all the points of the cam to engage, it's really, really solid.
It's like you can hang your body weight and feel like very safe on it, obviously, because you're doing some pretty risky stuff.
Yeah, definitely. If you're gonna hang for like a long time, you usually put in a couple different pieces just for safety. Or if you're building any kind of anchor to bring someone up behind you because you're climbing something bigger where you have to leapfrog a few times, you definitely use cams pretty much the whole way. Yeah, and they'll catch you when you're falling. They can catch you on a pretty gnarly fall, as long as you place them properly. So that was realistic.
And that's the thing too I like about this movie. Like you could honestly take the supernatural portion out, the golems out, and I still think that this movie would be very effective and terrifying.
Yeah,
totally. And that might be another reason you don't see as much like adventure sport horror, because it's already like basically at the thriller level. And I wonder if adding a speculative element makes it just harder to market because people buy thrillers more than speculative horror.
That's true.
I'm also going to be kind of picky, and I think we should avoid calling them golems because that's not actually true to lore. I think they'd probably be human hybrids or goblins or trolls or something.
I don't know.
Golems are...
No, not golems. Gollum, like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which would be a converted...
Pick that up this entire episode.
My bad. I should have enunciated better.
You meant like, oh yeah, that's awkward.
My precious.
That is very different from a Jewish mythical creature.
It sure is.
Yeah, no, I was going with the Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
While we're on it, we need more golem horror.
We do. I agree. I want to see more of it. Where's it at? Give me a Dybbuk while you're at it. I love the Dybbuk box.
Nice.
I'll give you three movies, but they might not be adventure, so you know.
That's fine. What are they? Dybbuk Sport? Because if they're not Dybbuk Sport,
All right, go to hell.
All Divic movies are about research, you know? Same thing.
Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go.
I see somebody also mentioned the scene towards the end where she emerges from the cave. It is a beautiful scene.
Yeah, it was like so cinematic. It was like a Renaissance painting or something. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
I liked it.
Crawling up the mountain of skulls. I think this movie did a good job with a lot of realism too, I will say. They, like you were saying, they're really dirty the whole time, which is accurate. I love that she drives a ways away before she has her breakdown, because that's super accurate. When you just gotta get away from that place before you can have your breakdown. But as soon as you can, you also have to pull over and let yourself scream, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really powerful scene. And I love that the truck just honks at her too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, complete lack of empathy back here in the human world.
Get out!
And that none of that actually happened because that's, that she's still trapped.
Right. Because of the Descent 2.
Well,
is that what happens?
Well, okay. So I guess, this is kind of moving into the cons. So there's two endings to this movie. And so in the US, you usually see this as the unrated cut, but this is the original ending, is that, she is in her car, she screams, and then suddenly she jolts and she's awake and she's still in the cave. And that's the ending.
No.
Yeah.
This isn't the real ending to the movie that I just described?
No, yeah, that's the American ending, and it is the inferior ending, in my opinion. So her actually escaping is the American ending. They thought, American audiences couldn't handle the bleakness of the ending. And then it ended up, then resulting in a sequel, which is awful.
Sure.
See, I think they should have actually gone harder on the ending. I think they should have gone like The Mist with it, where she gets away, she loses her shit, and then this truck just fucking flattens her.
No, yes. I saw the truck, and I was so hoping that was going to happen. How sick would that have been?
Right, like you do all of that, you get away, and then bam.
That would have been so awesome.
That's what I wish they would have done.
Everything about your book is starting to make sense to me.
The twisted mind.
Yes.
What other stuff didn't work? Obviously we have trouble keeping a lot of these characters, straight of who's who.
Since I've been the nitpicky gear guy, I'll go ahead and talk about that. There's no caving situation unless the cave is made of ice, where you need an ice axe. And every single climber in this cave has an ice axe for no goddamn reason. Because I'll tell you what, they're not going to make it any easier to do anything if you don't actually need to use them. They're heavy, they're long, they're sharp, and they are strangely shaped. So you don't want to be trying to bring them into really tight cave with you when there's no reason to have them. So that's my nitpicky gear thing. But they don't need ice axes. They were lucky to have them. They were convenient when you run into a tribe of bat zombie golems. But they're not really very good for caving.
I mean, they're rather inconvenient when one of them gets run through one of their heads.
That's
very true.
That is true.
But nobody knew who her name was, so
that's fair.
It doesn't matter. It's cool.
And I see hard to keep track of what's happening on here. That's why, right? Because we don't know who anyone is. And
they're all covered in mud.
And for 3/4 of the movie, they're covered in mud and in the dark and not talking.
Right.
So it's there's just really no way to distinguish them, except for Juno, who is decidedly less covered in mud, because the movie wants you to like Juno, and our main character, who is eventually just completely drenched in blood. So they're easy to tell apart from everyone else.
Yeah. That blood emerging scene is really dope, too.
It is
dope. It is dope.
It's horrifying and disgusting, but it is really dope.
I have a few nitpicks. They're dumb, but whatever.
Do it.
When Juno is like going for a jog before they go caving, like why would you be working out before you go work out?
Yeah, I mean, some people like to warm up, but I don't know that. I think that was more just like, oh, look how super crazy fit Juno is.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's like, come on, no. And then this is probably more of a like just a pet peeve of mine, but I hate whenever people like they wake up in the hospital and they're hooked up to an IV and whatnot, and their first inclination is, I'm gonna rip everything out and just freak out and run. Like, no, you're not going to do that. Like, people don't do that.
Right.
Especially since it's usually a catheter too, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah, do not rip that out. That would be a very bad idea.
I think most people, when they see something is stuck into them and that they are plugged into a machine, their first inclination is just to panic freeze, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna just be like, oh my god, what is happening? I hope I'm alive.
Yeah, it's just one of the things that irritates me, because it's just like, come on. And like, what if that was a very hard IV to get? Like, what if they had to do the ultrasound and you're just being a dick? And that poor nurse just worked so hard.
Yeah.
The real villain of the movie is anyone who is ripping out their IVs.
It is.
I mean, you could definitely make a strong argument that Sarah is certainly the villain of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think she does the most villainous thing. Juno does an extremely shitty thing, but I don't know that it's as bad as what Sarah does.
Yeah.
We could debate that.
Yeah. I think Sarah was going with that, like, you just have to outrun your friend, not the bear kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah.
And she knew that Juno runs fast because she saw her on that super necessary run before the caving expedition.
Okay, so it was necessary. Yeah, she was like, oh.
It was telegraphing why she had
foreshadowing.
That makes sense.
Hobble her.
All right. I withdraw my complaint.
Yeah, we just don't understand the depth of Neil Marshall's expertise and thematic through line. Okay. I have to agree with those, though. I do agree with both of those. Can we talk about the making no sound trope?
Yes, please.
Real quick. I hate this trope because it never works. Like, one of my big pet peeves in any book or movie, any story really, is like when it becomes really evident that you're just forcing me to know something about the plot. I call it because movie. But like this sound trope is particularly susceptible to because movie because people are making sound throughout the whole movie in all of these movies. And it only has consequences when it's convenient for the plot for it to have consequences. And this movie's just another example of falling victim to that. Like, they did okay with it. They did better with it than like A Quiet Place, but it's still pretty ridiculous in a lot of places. Like, if these are animals where their only sense is hearing, like apparently they don't have feel either.
Mm-hmm.
Or smell. Yeah.
However, they do, because at one point she smells her like baby and knows that that's her baby, but I guess they don't smell the very alive humans.
Yeah,
they're like
with
actively
real, with very chemically deodorants or anything like that.
Yeah, extremely strong smelling creatures we are. And so it was a very like that throws me out of the story a little bit, especially when I rewatched it. I care less about that like the first time, but now that I'm watching it like multiple times, I can't help but see that a little bit too. That's a bit of a nitpick for me.
I think that's fair because, like, well, okay, logically, if they have been in these caves for thousands of years and evolved to the point where they are, like, why is their only thing going to be sound? Like, they should have heightened senses to make up for their lack of sight. Like the smell, the feel, like everything else. Like, I feel like they ignored a lot of that.
And while we're on it, like, talking in terms of
No, I'm gonna chime in here with the biology degree with the evolutionary.
Let's go.
Yeah. I was about to try to tap you in, actually, so this is perfect.
I mean, if a creature is evolving in a complete dark environment, why would they need to enhance their smell or anything other than their hearing? If the evolutionary benefit is to smell something, then their hearing would probably diminish, and vice versa.
Mhm.
So,
But it's
I
not
get
like
it, I
an
can
either
understand.
or, though. Like, you can have two things at once.
yes, so why limit one over the other? Why can't they be able to hear very well and not smell very well?
I agree with that. And it does seem like they have to be pretty close to smell. Like when she smells her baby golem, she's like right up against it.
But
So it does
And
seem
another-
like it's weaker. But
Another component against the smell is we have to have a good airflow, we have to have availability of
yeah,
scents.
makes sense.
If it's just water and rock, what are they really smelling other than perhaps pheromones and bodily humors?
yeah,
But then
But-
for when a new animal enters the cave, don't you think they would smell it more easily because it would be a different smell?
So I
That'd be-
agree, but recently I just introduced a new little kitten to
Mhm.
my house, and
Aw.
so I have a 2-year-old cat who theoretically should understand that a new smell is something different, right?
Mhm.
And instead of accepting and kind of observing that smell, they go on the attack.
Hmm.
My cat was not happy about that this new smell was in the house, and it took about 5 days for them to kind of understand that the smell was safe and okay.
Right.
So if we want to talk about smell, sure, these creatures, these golems, perhaps did smell it, but were confused or perhaps aggravated.
that's fair. Yeah, I think
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think my biggest sensory problem would just be when they like literally climb over them and don't realize that they're touching something soft and fleshy.
So again, are they wet? Is there water? What is the
Yeah. She was wet.
Is-
She was covered in blood.
So wet.
So wet.
But
Are these
squishy.
Are these creatures adapt to smell human hemoglobin?
Maybe not.
that
They do hunt above ground too, though, because it even said they go up and they drag things down into the cave.
and
Do they hunt humans?
There's a lot of bones in there. And yes,
Hunt?
they are proven to hunt humans after this movie.
yeah, I think my problem is just I wonder if they would have actually evolved that way if there is access to the outside as easy as it is. Like if it was a recent earthquake that opened it up or something.
Mm,
I think we are being very nitpicky in this.
You know it.
for sure.
Like, ridiculously nitpicky if we look at other horror movies that focus on the same thing.
Oh, I will nitpick those too. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just like thinking about like, oh, what would actually create this creature, and I like to spend way too much time thinking about that. So this is like a hobby nitpick.
I agree. I think the creatures are awesome in this, for the record.
But yeah, they are dope.
I really, really like the creatures in this, and I think they add a lot to it. Even though you could also do this movie very scarily and effectively without a speculative element. What I think is not additional to the movie is the infidelity subplot. I hate it. It's
1,000% agree. Yeah, this was ridiculous.
right. It's such low hanging fruit. The stakes are already plenty high. And we spoke earlier to the lack of like a backstory behind these women and their friendship. It's because we spend all that time establishing this dumbass infidelity plot. Like, how about instead of trying to make me hate one character, you like show me how to like a few of them so that I can care when they get murdered by golems.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mhm.
but instead we spend the whole beginning of the movie just being like, oh, tragic accident, but it's undertoned by this affair that's like actually given a lot more gravity in the story than the tragedy of the accident, than her dead family or kid. Like, let's talk about fridging for a second.
Mhm.
Did this kid even have a name? And it's like, this kid is just gone. We never talk about the kid again. And then we just have like this husband side plot that added nothing to the story. It was way more powerful if you had just taken that out completely.
Yeah.
And then you could have built some characters up at the beginning of the movie instead of just establishing that. Like, it's supposed to be this twist.
Was the kid sitting behind Sarah in the car?
I think they were in the middle seat. Or it was, maybe they were behind the father in the passenger back
So they
seat.
got skewered with the Final Destination pipe thing.
On the same pipe, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shish kebab.
I did like that though, because I forgot. Because I saw this movie when it came out initially, so I completely forgot about that scene. And I was like, "Oh shit! Look, they Final Destination these."
I forgot too. The first time I rewatched it, and they were years apart, and I was like, "Oh god damn!"
Yeah, I was not
I forgot
expecting
about
that.
Yeah, I just wish we would have spent a little more time with all the characters that died, so that the stakes would have been a little higher for me from a storytelling perspective.
I would agree. They could have resolved some of their other issues if they would have just took the infidelity subplot out.
Yeah, or kind of rewrite the stuff. So instead of infidelity, it could be that Juno was the driver of the car that then killed her, killed the wife and
something like that,
or the husband and child or something like that. Like that I think would be more interesting. It's like, oh hey, they're all riding together.
Would that have mattered, though, at the end of the day, if Juno was if there was any cheating whatsoever, would that really have changed anything?
I don't even think you need the, plot that she has a husband and a kid. You could have just started it out like, hey, they're gonna go caving and all this shit happens.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we're trying to take something and make it make sense, but at the end of the day, like Clay said, I think this is a superfluous kind of a plot point. It doesn't matter to what happened in the story.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, the story's really supposed to be about, adventure and friendship and how those two things can fall apart amongst one another, and how when you're in a position where you're isolated and you need to rely on and trust each other, that's the worst time to, start to sow dissent, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could have, told that whole story without the first third of the movie.
Well, and also just the fact that Juno got them into that situation honestly creates enough tension between them.
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just had to talk through it. Okay. Well, do we want to move on to our ratings?
Sure.
Okay, so first let's start with screams. So how scary is this movie on that scale of 1 to 10? For me, I'll start us off. So I would give this an 8 out of 10. It's definitely, I'd say, one of the scarier horror movies out there in terms of just effective scares. The body horror really is, realistic. I don't know. This one gets under my skin more than your average horror movie.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give it an 8 as well. I showed it for one of our Screen Kings horror days a few years ago, and there are 3-4 female individuals who have reached out to me saying that this is their favorite horror movie, not only because it scared them, but the message it kind of showed. So, gotta give credit where credit's due.
Yes, I would give it an 8 as well. I thought it leaned into a lot of different elements of horror. There was claustrophobia, isolation, pitch darkness, the creatures, and then just the survival aspect of it. I find it to be rather frightening.
I agree. I also gave it an 8. It does a really good job of utilizing the isolation horror to its max effect. They literally personify the point of no return with the cave-in, but that's the scariest place to be on an adventure, is when you realize it's actually safer to go forward than to go back. And they do a great job of putting us right in that place. And also, again, sowing dissent between the characters, so we have some serious doubts that they'll get out alive.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk crowns now. So just now, kind of purely on the how good of a movie is this scale. I can kick this off again. I would also give it an 8. I had it as a 9 for a long time, but I think talking through some of the problems has made me kind of reevaluate that. But yeah, I mean, I really, really like this movie, and I recommend it to a lot of people.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 as well. I think this is one of the upper echelon horror movies that we have had in recent modern years. I think it's always in the top 10 of scariest movies that we have.
Yeah, I would agree. 8s across the board for me as well.
Yep, same here. I gave it an 8 too. Especially since it is one of the very few sports horror movies adventure sports horror movies out there, and they did it completely right.
With no research.
No research.
Absolutely no research.
Yeah, you can tell. It's beautiful.
Okay. Well, switching gears now. How is everyone staying spooky lately? What horror are you consuming these days? Should we start with Clay this time?
Sure. I'm usually reading a few things at once. I have like something I'm reading for pleasure, something I'm reading to learn, and then something I'm listening to on audiobook when I can't be physically reading book. I'm going through the Beast You Are collection by Paul Tremblay in my audiobook right now. If you haven't read that collection, it's just a collection of awesome Paul Tremblay stories. You really can't go wrong. And they have great narrators. I'm reading The Fatal Mind right now by NJ. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm also beta reading for a friend a demon possession horror comedy. My buddy JP Barnett, that's his next book, so I'm beta reading that. And then I'm taking a class with Richard Thomas, so I'm reading Best Horror of the Year for that.
Nice.
And I have a couple of, I do want to shout out Massacre at Yellow Hill by C.S. Humble and I Can Fix Her by Ray Wild. Those are both awesome books that I just finished reading. But those are two of my favorite of our author generation. They're awesome people. They're fantastic on panels. How many times can I say fucking awesome on a podcast? But highly recommend everything about them. Massacre at Yellow Hill is the first of a 6-book saga from C.S. Humble. And it's Western horror, so speculative Western horror. It's really, really good. And then I Can Fix Her is like a quick little novella about toxic relationships and crazy mind trippy magical realism shit.
Yeah, we just had
really, really fun.
we just barely had Ray, so.
Oh, nice.
I want to be Ray when I grow up. She's so fucking cool.
She is cool.
Like, so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I will, I can, last night, my friend, we both graduated residency together. He came over, we had some beers, and we watched Witchboard. Yeah. 1987 movie about a Ouija board, lots of Aquanet, douchebaggy guys, and then my favorite character is Zarabeth the Medium, who is quite obviously, I think, high the entire time.
Sure.
Yeah. I liked it. It was good. And then I am reading Vulgar Favors, The Assassination of Gianni Versace. So we actually were in Florida earlier this month for family vacation, and we drove by his house.
Oh.
Yeah, it was exciting for me.
So,
we like to do that in my family. Like, we've gone by like JonBenet Ramsey's house and stuff. So
to get that
Nice.
true crime bug scratched.
yeah, Andrew Cunanan he sounds like a real dickhead.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah. I just don't think he'd be like that much fun to hang around with. But that's just me.
Max, how have you been staying spooky?
I have 2 things. I've recently discovered a awesome TV show called Hell Motel on Shudder. It's kind of a whodunit meets slasher TV series with a demonic kind of undertone, which is everything I love and live for. And then a book I just recently finished was Exquisite Corpse. I've been on a read the most terrifying and disturbed books of all time kind of a kick.
Okay.
And so I've read Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. And I was kind of moved by the book. It's about two gay serial killers who kind of find each other and fascinate over the same victim. And, you know, serial killers are terrible and they shouldn't do what they do. But the prose and kind of the pathos behind everything was really, I don't know, kind of moving and good. And I'd highly recommend this for anyone who's queer, because I think the serial killer trope is hiding behind a more universal queer kind of feeling. So, I replaced this with the book Cows that I am trying to finish, and I've been reading it chapter by chapter because that book is a lot. So
It is a lot.
I am about done with it, but when someone kills somebody by pooping in their mouth, Max needs a break. So that's all I'll say.
Okay, well, I've been staying spooky, mostly just with my audiobook consumption recently. Specifically, I am about halfway through the Out There Screaming collection, which was edited by Jordan Peele. It's, you know, an anthology of black horror, and it's a lot of fun. I'd say I haven't been super impressed with every story, but I figure, you know, most anthologies are a little bit of a mixed bag. But there's this one story by Nendi Okorafor, hopefully I pronounced her name right, that really freaking slaps. So, you know, definitely I think worth checking out. Yeah, that one is called Dark Home. So good.
That's a good one. I also love the Hide and Seek by P. Jelly Clark.
Yeah, that one was, yeah. Pete Jelly Clark is really a great writer. I've enjoyed a few things by him. And yeah, like it's a fun collection. Definitely, you know, a lot of writers that I haven't read before, and now I'm adding a bunch of books to my list. So that's always the blessing and curse of reading an anthology like this, is, you know, suddenly my already enormous to read list gets longer. But yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So that's me staying spooky lately. All right. Well, I think we've covered everything we were going to cover. So, Clay, where can people find you? Where can they find your books, your podcasts, all of that stuff before we wrap things up?
Yeah, so Fermented Fiction, we're on YouTube. Just look up Fermented Fiction, and we go live once a week, starting in September. So September 3rd is our first episode back. And you can, catch the live streams Wednesdays, usually around 5 p.m. PST. And then you can find me on socials. I really just use Instagram. Everything else is on a scheduler, to be completely transparent. So if you really want to follow me, Instagram is the place. I'm at Clay Vermulm Fiction. And then I'm on Substack. That's where I host my newsletter. You can also get Fermented Fiction delivered to your inbox from that newsletter. So that's Clay Vermulm Fiction Horror at Substack. And those are the best places to find me. And then Rain Shadows is out on Sunday, the 19th. So if you love horror story collections and a bunch of classic horror tropes sort of reimagined in Washington State and subverted and stuff like that, consider going to check that out. That's really what I'm pushing right now. And Crevasse is also out from Dark Forest Press. That's out everywhere books are sold right now.
Awesome. Well, I guess without any further ado, everyone stay spooky.
Stay spooky!
Stay spooky!
Stay spooky.